All right, let's take a look at Peloton and see where or what levels I would look at and consider buying into the stock. Because you might be wondering, hey, where would I get it? Or when is the buy the dip opportunity come in? Or how could you plan out the trade? So here I'm going to share with you some thoughts and insights. Keep in mind, none of these are recommendations to buy, sell, or trade any of these stocks whatsoever. All right, so as we take a look here at Peloton, want to take a look at just the overall chart. So here we are on the monthly chart. So everything here, the stock kind of stemmed a little sideways. So here we go. And then it moved up, and then we kind of hit that 150, and we got some trouble creating some lower highs. So there was a bit of the issue as we pulled back and then really accelerated. So what we're doing right now is we're coming right back down to kind of the support level or the resistance way in the past of 2019, 2020, and right before that breakout. So we're coming back into that good value buying opportunity. So it's coming back rather than this kind of the, you could say Corona virus area right there where the explosion took place. So for me, I'm actually looking at it when this is starting to round out. So from a longer term or investment point of view, this is your critical line and level. If it breaks below that, I'd probably get out of the position fully regardless, but you got to give it a bit of wiggle room. So as we check things out, you have to consider, okay, am I a long-term investor, day trader, swing trader, that kind of thing? So I'd look at it from a longer term or even a swing trading point of view that right now it's coming into a really nice value buying opportunity, and you got to give it a little bit more room. So I'd probably set a stop somewhere around like a $30 level, maybe like 31, 32, give it a few extra bucks. But kind of this is that key level I'm watching is right around that, this level, this support line, which is about $36 or so. So what I'm watching for is a sideways consolidation or a rounding area, because this boat, when it's going down or it's going in this direction, for it to turn around and go over there. So let's say over here we are in Germany, and now we are turning around and going here, we're going, let's say, to the USA, and then now we got to go back to Germany or something like that. So as we make this shift, Italy, Germany, whatever, you take your pick, as we turn this boat around, that boat takes time to turn around, right? It doesn't just go, boop, let me just switch directions. Sometimes it does, but it's just more difficult. So oftentimes you'll see this kind of rounding, and what you'll see is here's that acceleration, slowdown already starting to take place. And now we'll see if we're going to get a little more slowdown right here. And then if we get that trend to the upside. Obviously, it could pause and continue lower. So if we get that, that's a big issue. And then you're just out. You just cut your losses. But if we're looking at just kind of, let's look at the daily right now. What you're noticing is we're kind of starting to base, and you're starting to get a few little green candle signs. Nothing amazing yet, but you're starting to see a few that are starting to come in. And what you'd like to see is just some of this turnaround to start taking shape. And that may be like a basing pattern for a little while where it isolates and then it explodes. And you can get in there or earlier. If you get in at the bottoms, you're getting in more aggressive. If you get in once it's starting to move, you're getting in a little bit at a safer play. So that's just kind of what I'm looking at. I'm waiting. And the way that I would approach it is, like, let's say you could start nibbling a little bit, like, now. I haven't done so yet because I'd like to see a little more sideways digestion, but you could almost start to nibble. Let's just say you're trying to get to 100 shares. Okay, so if your position full allocation's 100, you could say, okay, well, let me position about 10 shares now. And then as it starts climbing higher, I'll position maybe 10 more. If it keeps going higher, I'll position like 50 more. And then if it really proves it to you, get into the rest of them. And then you're kind of slowly holding that stock. But you're kind of looking for that baseline. Right now, it's just kind of like a nibble and see and wait, being a little more patient about it. And that's what I would say is, based on this stock, it's still acting a bit weak. There's still a lot of selling pressure there, but it is coming into a critical support level right now. It's just, it may not be ready yet to bounce or anything to that level. Of course, the stock had kind of lows at around $20, so that's a really critical support level. So if it does actually break, bounce a little bit, you have to be careful that it doesn't fall through and create kind of a go back down to 20. So you're kind of always watching those levels as you trade something like this, where it could just do a short-term bounce, roll back over, and then you're watching that 20 to see how that action is. So on this bounce, if the bounce happens, then you're watching to see if you have follow through and good, solid energy behind it. if you don't, it'll probably roll over. On the other hand, if it's kind of going sideways and then it starts to roll over, I would just personally get out. That's just my take, my insight on the stock as far as what's going to happen with it. Looking at the volume and you compare the two, the sell-off pressure is not as bad compared to the positive volume here that we have versus the negative. So I think this one could hold sometime soon, at least for the near future, meaning, you know, for the next couple months, it should be okay. But we'll see if we get some more energy back into it. Obviously, this spike in energy was because, you know, a lot of people were at home. So now the question is are we going to stay at home and people are going to look for a reason of why buy the stock, why buy it, you know, and if more people are at home and going to stay at home in a work from home environment, this stock could continue to do well and it could come back right into a nice value buying dip for some of those people that like these types of companies and investments because they think the revenue is going to keep growing. So anyways, that's just my thought and take on this one and kind of the opportunities and areas where I would look to probably purchase it. I'm just waiting for a sideways consolidation. It is one that trades very actively, so I like that. Liquidity is important and it is key. So keep your eyes peeled for some of these stocks that could turn around. And it may not happen for a couple weeks. It may not happen for a month or two, but you're kind of waiting for that boat to turn around. It could happen tomorrow or it could happen today. But just, you know, keep your eyes peeled for a signal and confirmation, and you could slowly build a position up. You don't have to get that whole position all in a single day. It could take you a week to kind of build out that position, allocating at different points, different spots, and you might want to even do some options with it if you like, from selling cash secured puts at the certain levels and whatnot. So anyways, thanks for joining me. I'll see you in another video.